what's up? Video about showing you the best Vex build in my opinion, and compatible Vex build as far as I know. Seeing this video, you've probably already seen the Moxie video, which goes over these two, and not using Bloodletter, not having points in the random points in this, which I feel like that build has a lot of wasted points, and to get the full potential out of it, which is only a minor increase in damage from this. It's a negligible amount. You have to have your ability up, and with this build, you're not really going to die often or much at all, but there will be times where you do and won't have your ability. So I kind of focus this build more around not having it. I don't want any restrictions on your damage other than your weapons and your gear. That's already a grind enough. So this is the build. Free and idle hands for reload speed, because you're going to need this fluidity of the build to making things smoother. Keep damage up time. The gear. These are the only three weapons that really matter. The other ones don't get as good damage or really anything, but the other snipers are fun and can be good, but just not great. So for the time being, just these are the weapons. This is your bossing weapon, the weapon that's going to do the most damage in burst. This is another weapon that I can't really showcase to its full potential, but even when it's not at its full potential, it is doing more damage than Affinity on a target dummy. It has potential to have a Jacob's license part, which you could then make a build with ricochets, ricochet on less crits, a chance to crit hit when you're not hitting a headshot, which is going to be great. And then this is your mobbing weapon, the weapon that is going to feel the best for mobbing. It's going to have the least ammo or the most ammo efficiency, going to feel better when mobbing, going to do insane damage as well. For this build, your healing item does not matter. You can use whatever you want. For this, your grenade does not matter. I have this nade on because it has Deadeye, but I'm not going to be using it because I kind of busted with Bloodletter. Also, you do not need legendary enhancements. Our epic rarity ones will do just fine. Majority of these are just overkill, but when it comes down for the affinity damage, this one is kind of nice. A better roll would be nice. Having fire rate on it. You could have kinetic damage, critical hit damage, really just any kind of thing that adds to your damage. For this, you're going to need the Undead Eye class mod. It is what's going to cause this build to skyrocket and actually be worth the while. You're going to want plus 5 to bloodshot, and you're going to want plus 2 to the grave skill, or the grave scythe, I think it's called Infernal Sum. You're going to want plus 2 to that. That is the best damage potential you can get out of this class mod. I ran the numbers, but when it comes down to the effects like my maximum health capacity and sniper rifle damage, it'll always roll with sniper rifle damage. The highest you can get is 45%. For this build, I chose to go with maximum health capacity because I believe it's giving you an overall more damage, because bloodshot scales off your total HP amount. And then this skill, Grave Vitality, this skill only scales off your base HP. So increases to HP don't count towards this scaling, but since this only scales off your base HP, it will give you more HP, but in the long run, you will get a total higher amount if you just have additives to your HP. So you could, your enhancement, you could choose an additive to your HP. For this, you could choose additive, or you could just choose kinetic damage or fire rate or whatever you really feel like doing, because fire rate is very nice. But you are going to need 3 Deadeye and then 2 out of 3 heating up. It's very necessary, especially when using this, but the 20% reload speed is also very nice. But this is completely necessary. Shield, you're going to need Timekeeper's new shield for specifically just boss damage. If you're going to be bossing, you can use another shield, like I don't have it on me right now, but the fireworks if you want to do mobbing. But I don't think that's all that necessary. Really, you can play around with this build. It's extremely versatile, but when it comes to weapons that count as snipers, this weapon isn't technically a sniper, but the legendary perk allows it to become a sniper and get treated as such with the damage. For Daedalus on the mobbing with the bod shotgun, you want on kill guns with Daedalus license parts have a 40% chance to refill your magazine. The other one doesn't really matter, but it's nice for not having to buy ammo, because I feel like going out of my way to hit a ammo station is kind of annoying. And with this, you can always regenerate ammo and you won't really ever have to buy any, even when you're mobbing a lot and shooting a lot with high fire rate. The SMG fire rate counts for the weapon because it also counts as SMG. It's very nice for that, but you want gun magazine size. You want that. Plus 50% or more, whatever you can get. The higher this mag is, the better it feels. And I think the highest roll you can get is 10. But for this weapon for mobbing, you want the Daedalus secondary fire to consume SMG ammo because it increases the fire rate. And also, I think it decreases the spread. It may decrease the damage per pellet, but that isn't all that important because the damage is going to be scaling off of bloodshot for each pellet, and it's going to be more damage you could ever get not using bloodshot on this. So with no kill skills, nothing procced. 5 million mag. In 10 seconds, you can get close to 20 mil. With bloodshot, it is really luck dependent, considering it's a 33% chance for it to proc. That's how it's going to be for every single weapon you're using bloodshot for. Still, on average, it is more damage than every other build I've seen isn't using glitches. For the affinity, you want a roll that has 19 on the ammo count before overheat instead of 14, because that's going to increase the amount of bullets you shoot before you're overheating, which you should already be aiming for heads anyways, because you're going to want the 100% chance to do a critical damage while overheating for this weapon. The gun splash damage and pistol reload speed are just a bad roll. These things are insanely rare. You could just use the purple version that has the bottom effect only, and then it'll have 3 rolls on it, and you could just get good rolls there. You do not need the legendary one. But also, you're going to want Grave Harvest too, but I'm not going to put it here because it just gets in the way. It causes dummy interactions to not really work. And 1 mag, 12 million. About 18 million. If you increase your fire rate, you can expend the mag further and then get this to have a higher damage potential. Messing around with other enhancements, builds for class mods, you can push this one's damage further, because I just don't have perfect build set up for the extra effects below the special effects, but it is possible. And comparatively to the Moxie build, this build will do extremely similar damage. With that build, I was hitting about 14 million in a mag, but I did not have the time to reload and to get any extra shots off. So this having faster reload speed will keep your shooting uptime more consistent. So it just feels better for gameplay and fluidity of your fighting. There are going to be bosses where you're going to get a bad roll on your bloodshots. You're not going to have the best luck, and you're going to have to use a second mag. It will not always be a 1 mag for everything. But for most bosses that aren't like vault bosses or the timekeeper, you can 1 mag them very consistently. But now I want to show you the stopgap. This one's radiation, and it would be better if I had a kinetic one, but this is just the one I have. When firing, fire rate decreases down to 20%, but damage increases up to 750%. For this one, you are just going to want to increase your fire rate as much as possible, because this weapon's going to be scaling off bloodletter. It's also going to be scaling off your critical hit damage, literally whatever else you can get, but you're not going to need it because of the 750% bonus. And when it procs with bloodshot, I'll just show you. 1.2 mil a shot when it procs bloodshot, the very top number. It is insane. And the bleed you proc off of that does a ton of damage. I don't know if everybody hit here. The highest number on the dummy I was able to hit with this was 41.6 million. I'm sorry. That's very dry. So ultimately, the potential of damage is the best with the stopgap, but it's not going to feel the best on most bosses. And once you get past the 15 mil damage marker, you're not going to really have anything else to shoot, especially with bosses. Most of the time, unless they have like a 2-phase, like the timekeeper, I can see that happening. But also with a 33% chance for bloodshot to proc, and this having such a slow fire rate, if you're unlucky, you're just going to end up doing not much damage at all. But if you're lucky, this thing hits really, really hard. And if you increase your fire rate even more, you can just skyrocket that. With this, you can increase your fire rate. If you wanted to change the build and go into a Grave Assault, you can increase the fire rate. Wanted to get it on your rolls, I've got 37% here. You also get some on here. For this weapons build, I don't really think you need the maximum health capacity, but the perk rolls would still be the same, and then 45% sniper rifle damage. Still want Deadeye. You could probably change this for the stopgap, but with this build, it's extremely versatile between these 3 weapons, and then even the other weapons. The truck, Borestell Ballista. The truck does pretty well. The Borestell Ballista does worse than the truck. And then the Stray, I don't find it all that fun. Hip firing is good for mobbing, but it's not necessary at all because you're not going to hit crits really with hip firing because it's going to aim for their body. This weapon does, I think, the second best of all of these weapons on a target dummy. Symmetry does very well too. I don't remember what rank out of all these it would place, but it's very fun. Really, the whole point of playing with a build is to have fun, so you don't have to use these weapons. Complex Root, I haven't really found out a way to make this do insane damage because the diverging projectiles are very spontaneous. But for mobbing in like tight, dense areas, I could see this being good. It would be cool if you could find a way to make this good because it seems very fun. The Fisheye, it's good, but the total damage damage number you're getting isn't all that insane. I don't know why, but it doesn't proc bloodshot all that often. And when it does, it's not doing an insane amount of damage or even a noteworthy amount of damage. And also, when I showcase the damage would be increased if I actually use my skill because I can get a 30% increase from perks. It's not all that important. You don't need to have this like the action skill up to proc Grave Harvest, considering you're using Mortal Terror. And when you're outputting a bunch of bullets like with these, it's not going to matter. This will increase your mobbing damage and even single target damage if you put it on. I'm going to showcase the damage on these first 3 weapons. I'm not going to be using my ability because only a 30% increase. I want to show what it can do without it. And I feel like I should mention, for Vile Lictor, this weapon can 1 mag him. In fact, you can deal 3 health bars of damage in 1 mag. As I said, this weapon is your best bossing weapon, because ton of bullets keep proccing bloodshot. Now I'll show you the stopgap. When it's good, it's good, but when it's bad, it's really bad. Bad run. It was a bad run.
Hello, friend in question here. As you can see, on Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, my build is much worse than his. I don't have max Deadeye. I have pad rolls on pretty much everything except my affinity, really. It could be way better, especially with 3 out of 3 Deadeye and some better rolls on my class mod and my enhancements. I'm just here to demonstrate that it does work, even in Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, even if you don't have, you know, insane rolls on everything. And by the way, my skill tree is almost exactly the same. It's just I don't have idle hands. I have it put into something else, but it's very, very similar.